Are you ready to break free from life's chains? Welcome to the Set Yourself Free podcast, now live in the Metaverse. Discover powerful strategies to overcome challenges, boost your confidence, and unlock your full potential. From conquering the fear of success to managing holiday blues, we've got you covered. Learn how to let go of emotional baggage, practice proactive crisis management, and celebrate yourself with positive affirmations. Join us on this transformative journey and discover the freedom within you. Set yourself free, your guide to a happier, healthier you. Visit our Metaverse studio today and start your liberation.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Set Yourself Free podcast, where we explore the journey from fear to freedom and from surviving to thriving. I'm your host, Cleo, and today we're diving into a powerful topic: reigniting your vision, finding your purpose when the flames fade. Again, today we're going to talk and we're going to focus on the rebirth, reclaiming my voice, and reigniting the vision. So let's set this up and jump right in. Maybe you started a journey full of passion and clarity, a career, a calling, a recovery path, but somewhere along the way, things got cloudy. Life happened. Disappointment stacked up, or maybe you got comfortable and your vision just dimmed. If this sounds familiar, this episode is for you. So, let's talk about it. Why does the fire fade? Sometimes we drift from our vision without realizing it. We get caught up in routine, responsibilities, or even self-doubt. And before we know it, we're running on autopilot and wondering why we feel disconnected. And I personally have experience with that. I started out my journey working on this podcast, working on being a life coach, and then life happened. and I decided to go back to school. And so I was working full time. I went back to school, and here I am trying to do a podcast, trying to run a coaching business as well. And after a while, you kind of just start to get burnt out. And so for a while, I had to decide what did I want to focus on, because my energy was being utilized in many areas. And so some things fell by the wayside. And as you can see, you haven't seen me for a while. You haven't seen a podcast for a while. And now we're back. And the reason why is because, like I said, it kind of like the passion that I had in the beginning, it just kind of dimmed. Right. And I was just like, okay, well, I got to focus on these other things over here. And the thing that was most passionate to me, again, fell by the wayside. But here's the thing. Here's the truth, right? My vision didn't die. It just went on the back burner for a little bit, right? And I needed to, reignite myself, rejuvenate myself, find myself again so that I can give back to my vision and my goal. I just needed a spark. All right. So let's walk through, how do we get that spark? Let's talk about some practical tips to help you reconnect with that deeper purpose and reignite with what's been lying dormant inside of you and what had been lying dormant inside of me. So let's talk about the six steps to reignite your vision. Now, step 1, you want to pause and reflect. That is important. I cannot stress on how important reflection is, specifically self-reflection, because it gives you the ability to become aware of the things that you need to change, the things that you need to focus on, the things that you need to improve on. Okay, so we want to take a moment to pause and reflect. You can't reignite what you haven't revisited. I'm gonna say that again. You can't reignite what you haven't revisited. Okay, so we gotta go back. We gotta go back and see You got to go back and reconnect, right? Ask yourself, what did I used to dream about that I've stopped pursuing, right? I had to go back and think about, I used to think about having a successful podcast, having a successful coaching business, and I let that slide, and I also had to think about how happy it made me to help other people, to share with people knowledge and hearing people talk about how that knowledge helped them. So I need to go back and revisit that feeling so I could build that spark again. All right. So think about what parts of my life feel off or not aligned right now. Right. Because we want to get connected with those things so that we can know how to light that spark. Again, you can't fix what you're too busy to notice. Okay. So if we can't recognize the areas that we need to improve on or the areas we need to connect with, we won't be able to fix it. So that's step one. Pause and reflect. Now let's take a look at step two. Reconnecting with your why. Go back to the root. Why did I start on this journey? Why did you start this path? What project or pursuit were you after in the first place? And think about what mattered to you most then. What mattered. And again, like I said, for me, I had to go back and look at, how I was helping people, how people were responding to the knowledge that I was giving them, the help and the assistance that I was giving them, how it was impacting their lives, and how that made me feel. And I enjoyed that feeling of helping other people, helping them to achieve their goals, helping them to shift from a negative space in their life and move into a positive space where they could thrive. That really made me feel a sense of purpose. And so I had to understand that this is why I first started this in the first place. I started this with that purpose. And let me tell you, your purpose is what fuels your persistence. It's what's going to help you stay in the game. It's what's going to help your vision stay alive. And so we got to go back and take this time after you've reflected and during your reflection to reconnect with your why. Again, why did you start on this journey? Step number 3, clear the clutter. Clear it out. Clear out the space. And I mean the space of negativity that exists. Because let me tell you, that hamster wheel of negativity that exists in our brain, it will take over. That's that voice in your head that says, you don't need to get back in the game. You can quit. This is too much. You got too much going on in your life. I have so many responsibilities. I don't have the time to give to this vision. Clear that right out your brain. Clear the space, whether it's physically, mentally, and emotionally. All right. So think about it. What habits do I have that I need to let go of that's blocking my purpose? What beliefs? And I just gave you a few examples of beliefs that you could have. Like for me, it was like, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time. I'm in school. I have kids. I'm exhausted, right? And the truth is, I can make the time. I can make the time, and it doesn't have to be too much. It doesn't have to cause me to be overextended, right? So breaking it down, instead of thinking about like the whole big picture, like breaking it down into smaller pieces where I could find the time to schedule everything that I need, that it doesn't become overwhelming. Again, think about what distractions are pulling you away from your purpose. Again, like I said, even though the things I was working on are things that are important to me, this was also important to me as well. In fact, it was one of the most significant, important things to me that brought me joy in my life, right? It gave me meaning outside of my kids. And so how can I lose sight of that and not focus on that? So how can I make it come back in and where it's doable and it's not overwhelming? And sometimes when we're pursuing our goals and dreams, we can be so excited that we overdo things and we don't have balance. And that was my issue. And that's why I got burned out, because I didn't look for the balance. I didn't pursue the balance. And so I encourage you to think about, what are the things that are pulling you away from your purpose? How can you let them go? And how can you reshift your mindset? How can you make it um, fit into your current life? So clearing the space isn't just about your calendar, it's about your mindset. You know, you have to reset your mind. You have to reset yourself on your purpose and how you can make it work. Next, step 4, you want to visualize the future that you want. Okay? Don't just chase like certainty, chase like clarity. Making sure that you are clear on the path that you're trying to take. You are clear on where you're trying to go, the success you're trying to achieve, and how does that fit into your purpose. All right? Picture what your life could be like if fear wasn't in the way. If I took away all these distractions and I really focused in on my purpose, what would that look like for me? All right? Ask yourself, if I wasn't afraid, what would I go after right now? What what would that success look like for me? All right? You don't need to have like all of the answers right away, but you do need to have something to focus on, because then you have something to work towards. Step 5. Take one bold step. Okay. And listen, as we talked about in step 4, we talked about the fact that you don't need to have the full map in step 4. You just need to know what's the direction you need to go in. Right. And then once you have the direction, then you can start actually taking steps towards your goal again, back in the game. So with step 5 requires you to now take action. Take action. Listen, nothing in life is going to change unless we start actively working towards the change that we want to do. So you got to take action, and that action has to be intentional. That action is actually the spark that is going to build a huge momentum. All right. So decide what steps you need to take to get into action. For me, in my case, it was, you know, I had to honestly review all the my podcasts that I had done, like really taking the time to go back and see the progress that I have made. That's what worked for me. Everybody's different, but I had to go back and look and see like how far I had come. And that really was a spark that started to build the momentum. You know, some as again, sometimes we can lose sight of things because we're so busy and actually being immersed in the thing that we do, that we don't really see our progress because we're living it every day. But sometimes it's important to have that pause and look back and see how far you've come in order for you to know how far you're going to move forward. And so I decided that I needed to take a look back. And that's what got me back into, okay, girl, you got to get back in line. You got to get back on this podcast thing. You got to put forward a next episode. And that's how this episode came to be. It was that spark that reignited my purpose, that got me back connected with why I'm doing this and understanding that I have a bigger calling. And right now, I'm not living that. Right? In that moment, I wasn't. And I didn't feel good to not be pursuing something that I know I was made to do. Right? So for you, whatever that intentional spark is, whatever that intentional action is, go do it. Take the step. Don't be afraid. Step out of fear and step into your purpose. Make a call if that's what you need to do. Write an email if that's what you need to do. Apply for a job if that's what you need to do. Seek therapy, join a group, start some meditation, some mindfulness, go for a walk. Whatever it is, you just got to do something. You got to start something that is going to get you going. Because listen, the flame that ignites your passion might not start out right away. It might just need to be a small smart spark that you continue to fan that blows into something marvelous. Again, the flame doesn't come back all at once, but every step is a spark and a step in the right direction. And lastly, surround yourself. Step number 6, surround yourself with vision builders. Is in your circle? Who are you listening to? Who is your support network? So at times we surround ourselves with people that are naysayers, people that don't believe in our vision, and sometimes we tend to take in a lot of what they say. But we have to remember that we want to be uplifted and we want to move forward. And sometimes we got to let go of people that's not in alignment with that movement. So think about who's in your circle. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who believe in your passion, who believe in your purpose. Surround yourself with people who will ignite your fire, not people that are going to stomp it out, extinguish it. Remember, community matters. Community matters. We do not have to do this alone. Your environment either fuels your growth or feeds your doubt. Again, if you surround yourself with people that are telling you can't do it, and your self doubt is telling you can't do it, you're more likely to lean heavily into that self doubt. But if you surround yourself with people who are uplifting you, even though that self doubt creeps in, the support, that positive energy is enough to stump out that self talk. Remember, we have the power to change our thinking. And when we change our thinking, that's when we win. So, as I said, let's get back to my process and how step 6 resonates with me. As I told you guys earlier, I had to go back and look at my progress. And then I had to, check in with my support system because honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I was not checking in with them. And just going back and talking with people who support me really also helped me to understand and confirm that I needed to step back into my purpose. And like I tell you guys all the time, support is essential. And when self-doubt kicks in, it's your support system, it's your foundation that's going to help you to navigate that. And so when I got back talking with other people who support me, I really took the time to self-reflect. And that self-reflection is ongoing. It's not a one-time thing. It's something that you have to consistently do. Um, Once I was able to do that, I was able to see the things that I also stopped doing. The things that I stopped doing for self-care. I like to listen to music, I like reading, I like, walking. And also I realized that I kind of seriously cut back heavily on praying. I used to pray all the time, and then I realized that, part of the reason why I feel exhausted is because I'm not feeding my spirituality. And that's a big part of my life. And sometimes we can get so busy into our everyday tasks that we let go of the things that really is supposed to be fueling us. And so I just encourage you to take this step to, it's not going to hurt you. It's just going to be insightful. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to help you to reconnect. And that reconnection is most important to that spark. As I said, self-reflection, I'm big on. And for me, I think that was the pivotal role in me starting this rebirth, this reignition of my journey. So as we come close to the close of this segment, I want you guys to remember that each and every one of us go through a season in our life. Sometimes that season is positive, sometimes it's negative, and sometimes that negative can take us off the path of where we're trying to go, completely off course. Not showing up every day like you're supposed to. Showing up but being empty inside, not having enough to give, feeling slowed down, and most importantly, not acknowledging how you feel, not acknowledging what's going on with you, not acknowledging that you're lost. And it's important for you to be open and honest with yourself and acknowledge those things. And you know what? Once you've acknowledged them, you got to do something about it. You know what they say, knowledge is power, but it ain't powerful if we ain't taking action. So you got to do something about it. Take a step forward and start thinking about what's right and what feels right to you so that you can come alive again. Sometimes it takes baby steps. It might not happen all at once because, let me tell you, change is a process. Changing our mindset is a process. So you might not feel all inspired at once, but you got to start somewhere. If you're truly passionate of reaching that goal, you got to start somewhere. And so you just take step by step by step, taking action, consistent action. And one of my favorite phrases that I tell people is that the transformation happens when the belief in yourself meets consistent action. You got to believe in yourself first and foremost, and then you got to be committed to taking action. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to believe in yourself, you're able to remember who you are. You're able to remember what your purpose is. So, in closing, your vision, it's not lost. It's not. It may feel like it, but it's really not. It may be buried under burnout, because that's where mine surely was, or disappointment or fear, right? You know, all the negative things that we're saying to ourselves, it might be buried, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean that it's not still there, and it doesn't mean that it's not still waiting for you. So you don't need to figure it all out today, but you just need to be willing to look inward, take one step, and believe that it's not too late. So before this week ends, take one intentional step to reconnect with your vision. Journal your goals. Call someone who inspires you and speak your dream out loud. Tag me on social media. I would love to hear what your next step is. Thank you, guys. And with this, we have come to the conclusion of this episode. And I'm going to let you guys listen to my Lord Jesus, I don't forgot what I was trying to say. But listen up to a little bit about Set Yourself Free and what we do. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Welcome to Set Yourself Free Life Coaching. We guide women who are overwhelmed with being emotionally stuck to get unstuck, so they can reach new heights of their full potential. We believe that everyone has the power to create the life they desire, but sometimes we need a little help along the way. That's where we come in. We provide personalized coaching and support to help you overcome your obstacles and achieve your goals. Our coaching program is based on the principles of positive thinking and self-empowerment. We believe that by changing your mindset, you can change your life. We will teach you how to identify and challenge your negative thoughts and replace them with positive ones. We will also help you develop a strong sense of self-worth and confidence. Together, we will create a personalized plan to help you reach your goals. We will work with you on your specific challenges and provide you with the support and motivation you need to succeed. If you are ready to break free from the past and create the life you deserve, then contact us today. We would be honored to help you on your journey.